If you're trying to use YNAB and you're still getting lost and you're just so frustrated and ready to almost throw in the towel and quit altogether, I want you to know that I've been there, which is why I want to show you the 3 steps that I use every single time that I get lost with YNAB and how they always get me right back on track. So one of my favorite people to follow and learn from is a guy named Jocko Willink. He's a retired Navy SEAL and he talks a lot about business and leadership and discipline and working out. And he has given me a ton of helpful frameworks and concepts over the years that I can apply to my life. And one of those is something he calls detaching for clear thinking, which has been extremely helpful for me when I get lost inside of YNAB. Let me show you what the first step is. So nearly every week I get an email from somebody who is at a breaking point with YNAB and their budget. And I get emails where people are going, look, I'm in here and then this confused me. And then all of a sudden I started looking around and like, these numbers don't make sense. And I don't know what these numbers mean. I don't know what any of these mean. There's numbers everywhere. And I get lost and frustrated and I'm just fed up. And that happens all the time. And when you find yourself in this situation, your brain, it like literally starts turning to mush and you feel like you can't even think straight. And that's why the first step is to detach from the situation. And what do I mean by that? I mean, literally take your hand off the computer, sit back up in your chair, pause, take a deep breath and pull yourself out from the weeds of whatever situation you were just in. Like seriously, stop thinking about it and get your head up and pull back. Now, the second step is to reset yourself, reset your brain and reset your thinking in the moment. And you do that by reminding yourself what you already know, what you feel confident in inside of YNAB. Now, when it comes to what I already know to be true, there's 3 areas in YNAB that I always start with, and I always go through them in the same order. The first one is our accounts. I always start with my accounts whenever I get lost inside YNAB, and I just keep it simple and go top down. So here in my checking, you can see that I recently reconciled, but if I hadn't, I would go through here and reconcile. Now, I just recently released a video on reconciling. You can find it here, YNAB reconciling tutorial. So be sure to check that out if you aren't clear on how to do your reconciling. But I would just go through that process and say, yep, okay, look, this matches my bank. I feel good there. Okay, 500. Yes, that matches. General 200. Yes, that matches. Check out my Visa card. Okay, look, payment. Oh, yep, need to clear those. Those look good. And Walmart. Yeah, I did. Okay, I did that. Great. Reconcile. Good. MasterCard. Yep. And I just go all the way down and remind myself that the accounts in YNAB are supposed to match my accounts in real life. So I always get this straight first. Anytime I'm lost on anything, I go back and I start and I reset by making sure that my accounts are right. Now, if the thing that you got confused on and frazzled about was reconciling your accounts, like I said, check out that reconciling video. Once you've done that, the next thing that I reset myself on is the budget. Now, when it comes to the budget, I reset my brain by reminding myself what each column means. I literally say them out loud to myself. The budgeted column, the activity column, and the available column. And in my case, the goal column because I'm using the toolkit for YNAB Chrome extension. Now, I have a whole video where I talk about each of these columns in depth called How YNAB Equals the Envelope Budget. So you can check that out if you want more. But I'm going to walk you through what I do every single time I get lost very briefly here. I start on the left and work to the right, and I literally say to myself, okay, so here's Netflix payment. Remember, that is a Netflix envelope. A category is just an envelope. That's all it is. So I took my pencil and I wrote Netflix on the outside of the envelope. Now, the goal, when I set a goal for this by coming over here, I set a $12 goal because that's how much my monthly Netflix bill is. So I wrote $12 on the outside. That's all a goal is. It's just a plan. It's just me writing on the outside of it. The budgeted column is where I'm actually budgeting money. So that means I made some money and I took it from to be budgeted and put it down here into the envelope. I remind myself the budgeted column is how much I put into the envelope this month, not last month, not next month, and it's not a plan either. I literally have $12 and I'm saying this $12 is for Netflix. The activity column is my payment. Okay, yes, great. So my checking account on the 12th, Netflix came out for $12. So that looks good. I've budgeted for it and then actually spent it, which means I have nothing left in the available column, because the available is if I go and look in the envelope, that's how much is in there. And it could have some left over from the previous month. So I sort of remind myself of that. And then I'll go down and do another one. Okay, groceries, here we are. So groceries, I set a goal of 400, but I actually decided to budget 450 because, well, it's December, we got the holidays, so gonna have to buy a little more food this month, people coming over and things. Now, so far we've only spent 200, so I can see that there at Costco, which means I've got 250 left. Okay, now that makes sense, 250 left, it's December 12th. Might be able to get by on that. And I literally go down one category at a time and reset my brain. Now, obviously it picks up. So it's slower at first and it picks up quicker. Okay, yeah, mortgage, yep, Netflix, car insurance, and I can go left to right and just reset myself. The goal is my plan. It's my stated intention. The budget is how much I've actually put into the envelope this month. Activity is how much I've actually spent already this month. And the available is what is left in the envelope, in the category. I reset my brain by reminding myself of what each column means. Now, the last thing I do to sort of reset myself after the accounts and reminding myself what each column means is I go down each category again for the available column and I cover any overspending if at all possible. I try to. So I'm going to look through here and see if I see any negatives, and I do. So here on date night, I can see that we went to Taco Bell. We were super hungry, so we spent $25, and I have money in to be budgeted, so I just need to budget for that. Anytime that you've got negative red, it could be throwing things off, and it's very likely to be contributing to your confusion. Again, I've got $55 overspent on auto maintenance. Now, this is on a credit card, so it can still be really confusing, so I really try to cover this if at all possible, and I can there. Obviously, if I have negative to be budgeted, that can really be throwing things off. So if I have negative to be budgeted, I need to take money from some categories that have green available in them and get my to be budgeted back to zero. You don't ever want to have this thing negative. If to be budgeted is negative, then you can't really trust much of your numbers in your budget anyways, and that's really going to mess you up. And that brings me to the third step. Remember, I said 3 steps. So the first thing I do, I detach, pull myself up from the situation. Second thing I do, I reset my brain by looking at the accounts, looking at the budget column, reminding myself what everything means, and making sure I've covered any negatives in my budget or in to be budgeted. Once I've done all that, the third step is I will revisit the original problem that got me so flustered and frustrated in the first place. I found that 99% of the time when I go through this process, I'm able to reapproach the problem with a much clearer frame of mind and almost always find the issue that I was struggling with. And if I'm not able to, I'm typically only a quick email to YNAB support or Google or YouTube search away from being able to find my answer. Now, if this video was helpful for you, be sure to check out my other YNAB videos like reconciling your accounts or understanding the budget screen and how it acts like the envelope system. You can also download all of my YNAB checklists at mappedoutmoney.com/YNAB-checklist. And as always, remember, I can teach you how to budget, but I can't make you do it. The choice is yours. We'll see y'all next time.